you into negative emotions to try to draw the frequency back down, but they can't stop us from rising.
Man, I love that you said that too, man, because that's another point that I've really been trying to drive home to people that I speak to that I know on a personal level is like, take inventory or take hold of your energy, your intentions, and all the things that you're doing, because right now with this shift, when we talking about Big Mama like exterminating these parasites, let me ask you this, because your opinion might be different from mine, but is there a race or skin complexion tied to that energy of the parasite? Okay, thank you, because that we on the same. Then we on the same page, because
it's a vibration in the frequency. Okay, how it's going to work is this: it's going to be what's called the Great Solar Flare. The Great Solar Flare then is going to activate the core of the Earth to send out the parasite cleansing frequency. Everybody that don't belong here, they can't stay here. If you ain't the original people of Earth, and I don't care what skin color you is, because it's original people from all skin colors. But if you ain't from the original people of the Earth, your mitochondria is just going to be turned off unceremoniously. That's like turning your brain off mid-step, or turning your heart off mid-step. It's the same. Right? Yeah. So it's going to be solar flare, Schumann resonance spike, parasites drop.
Bro, that's so dope.
But we get to have some fun first.
I promise you, I promise you, I've been sharing that with people for a minute now. But it's the last. I want to ask you this, because this is something, especially with you and I. We ain't even known each other a week. Hell, I don't even know if it's been 4 days, but that don't matter, because we've known each other for eternities. I feel like spiritually or energetically. But in this present time right now, I've known you for maybe 4 days. I don't know, but whatever. I personally started sharing with people within the last year and a half, year and almost close to 2 years, about this is it. This is a wrap. This is the big. I call it the solar system. This is the Super Bowl of the solar system in regards to what we're seeing and witnessing right now on this planet and this extraction.
It's funny you say that, because as soon as it's over, we're gonna have delegates from places. They gonna look so strange to us. But they coming from everywhere, because when we liberated the Earth realm, everything that was under Enlil's control was liberated. Galaxies, because they went about in they ship as it passed through other galaxies, conquering, and they just picked the wrong place when they came to Earth.
Oh man. And I'm still keeping it I'm keeping it quite PG-13, because when I tell you, bro, like that's so dope, because I've been saying that. And I think being the type of person, and I'm gonna bring this up too, because right now we've been in 2 hours and 32 minutes. We got damn near 1,000 people. We about 600 something. But anyway, that's real. But you said something in another interview I was watching the other day, and it resonated with me on another level, because I could relate to it. And what it was, you were saying that you don't even like social media. You don't.
I hate social media with a passion.
You and me both. And that's the thing. But see, I know it's a different level of vibration, a different level of beingness, because for me, I don't need or want attention, none of that. But I know what I was called to do, and I know my gift. So I don't want the problems of not being obedient to Big Mama and to Spirit. So therefore, I have to.
I tried to run away. I tried to refuse. I had no right of refusal on this one. I didn't want to go on social media. I would have rather went on the lecture circuit than social media. But no, I'm going to whoop your ass spiritually until you conform to what I need you to do, not what I want you to do. The requirement for me to use social media was to follow the path of least resistance, to access the most amount of people using the public domain format in order to meet with the tribal tradition, where we used to stand in the town square And it used to be somebody that read out the public information several times a day to make sure everybody heard it for a period of time. Now, based on modern legalities or legal systems, we use what's called a timestamp archivable dated format, which has a reach of more than 1,000 people. All social media platforms, whether it be it Facebook, Instagram, MySpace, YouTube, Rumble, it don't matter. They all have more than 1,000 people have access to it. So then it becomes actionable by putting it in the public domain, following the traditions of the tribe. So that's why I use social media. But believe me, I tried to duck this. When them niggas saw slam their doors in my face, I was like, okay, I do what I do. So I don't like social media. I never liked it, but it's a means to an end. And in this particular situation, to get this information to as many people as willing to receive it, I use whatever is required, and I don't have to like it, but I will perform my function because I don't want no more of them spiritual ass whoopings. I'd rather for 3 big niggas to come beat my ass on the corner than get another spiritual ass whooping. Them the worst ass whoopings you could ever get.
Well, when I tell you, look, when I tell you, when you said that, it resonated with me because I feel you, and I feel the same way because I don't need any of like the fanfare. Like, I don't need or want any of that, but I also know what I signed up to do. So I have to, you know what I'm saying? I have to be obedient to that. But when you said that, it resonated because there's not a lot of people that I personally have seen or listened to or watched their work that has came out and said that publicly. I've said it privately to people who I know personally that I don't like social media and I don't want to be on it because I really don't give a shit about it. But I know I came here to do a job and that job has to be done. And I committed to that. So when you said that, it was dope because I was like, oh, it's somebody else who feel that way too. But with that, I feel like that's what makes this type of work more honorable because it's not like it's done for the facade or the praise. You know, say all the other foolishness that unfortunately we do have some people who are doing things for that particular reason, right? But that's why I asked the question in regards to how do you feel about the intentions or the energy or the frequency with people right now, and does race or color or melanin matter? Because it really is about the frequency. Because you said something, I don't know how many people caught it, but when you said there are beings who operate in the next level of dimensions or frequencies who are of all colors and races, that's a real thing because now we're talking about energy signatures and we're talking about auric and ethereal and energy existences, which your melanin ain't gonna give you a pass to get to that level of frequency if you on the bullshit. So for that, is it like, can you kind of share just like how real that is and how important it is for us to like really work on operating at the highest optimum energetic frequency that we can in order to get to the next dimension and avoid being part of the extraction or extermination when Big Mama come and do what she do?
Um, from you gotta remember, humans can see less than 1% of the light spectrum. Other beings can see larger chunks of the light spectrum. The physiology of the human is going through a transitional phase. We turn it from carbon based, which give us our shades of brown to bone in color, to crystalline, which will give us a different physiological appearance over time. And in order to meet these needs, we have to have a certain frequency that's vibrating within our biology that allows the mitochondria to feed the DNA to convert the 2-strand DNA into a crystalline processor instead of a carbon-based processor. And we will be downloading massive amounts of energy, and we'll be able to have our higher self as a personal tutor. Right. But it's based on your frequency that's going to allow you to adapt. If you are vibrating too low, you're going to have to come back if you're earthborn because you haven't done the self work required to raise your vibration.
Yeah, that's deep. Um, And when you say, it's two questions I want to ask with that. So when you say Earthborn, can you kind of share with us what your definition of Earthborn is and why that's significant to tonight's conversation?
Everybody on Earth ain't from Earth. That's just all I mean. Everybody on Earth not from Earth. You got interlopers. You got usurpers and underminers. Some of them come from a mirror dimension. Their genetics is backwards. They don't have a XY. They have a YX. They don't have a 2X male. They have female. They have a 2X male, right? You can look these conditions up. XY female, XX male. They got names for this stuff, but they from a mirror dimension. That's why they genetics mirror ours upside down and backwards. Everybody ain't from Earth, but the ones who was naturally tied to the Earth, they can't go nowhere else unless they leave by apparatus, right? And the ones who don't belong here, Earth send that pitch out. That's over for them. Should have left when you had a chance. They had a big exodus from Antarctica about a year and a half ago. But they told us that it was a meteor shower. They didn't tell us it was thousands of ships leaving. Because they played the video in reverse.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? That reminds me of the, I don't know if you saw it or not. I want to say, shit, where was it at? I want to say it was in London about maybe a couple of months ago when they had a very significant, I would say, occurrence in the skies over London to where, and I got this as some of my research for one of the videos I'm going to be putting out in regards to all this we're talking about, but it was like, kind of like the Gayami symbol, but it was like a solar, it was a white, almost like identical version of this, except for minus the two middle parts, where it was like spinning in the sky in London. And it was like
that's a Dyson sphere.
Okay.
That's a Nibiru satellite.
Yeah. And I talked about Nibiru Thursday. Can you share what that
satellite? Before, look, when Nibiru is coming closer to the Earth, before they come, they always survey the Earth. And they got other planets that they do that with. The Dyson sphere is a satellite, right? They can actually use it, and they got a speaker system on there. And then they have what's called a telepathic communication system on there where they can talk to your mind without talking with words. And it carries a lot of power. It's the same, it's a biblical description of the angel. The Dyson sphere.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so now for the people who might not have never heard of Nibiru, which I'm pretty sure most people out here probably have, but there might be some people who haven't. Do you mind sharing, like, with the tribe who?
Nibiru is called the planet of the crossing. The scientists got several names for it. They call it Rilo 7. They call it Planet X. The Dark Planet. It's a couple more names. I can't remember them all right now. But it's the second sun in our binary star system. Most of us don't know we live in a binary star system because the second star is got a different elliptical orbit than the Earth sun has. So when it goes through, it comes back at the close of every major cycle. Sometimes it comes back at different times based on the orbit, and it's a ship. They can navigate it, but it's also a sun called the black sun. But it's still another astrological body that comes through periodically.
Yeah, that's deep. I was trying to pull it up too. I want to pull it up. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up on the screen, like kind of like a diagram of Nibiru and like what it looks like and what it entails. So with that, because for those who might be new to the concept of Nibiru, and also like for those who might know of Nibiru but not know the depths of the details, Nibiru ain't just like a craft or a ship. It's huge. It's actually about what the size of Earth, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in
It's like 1.5 times bigger than our sun.
right. So right now, with that, Nibiru won't technically be able to come into the planet because it's bigger than the planet. But Nibiru can. How close can Nibiru come to planet Earth within our solar system?
Several million miles. The orbit that it's on, we will be able to see it, and it'll almost look like you can reach out and touch it, especially in the Alaska area. Right? But it's not going to be as close as it looks. It's just that it's that goddamn big.
Yeah, and it moves with a it moves with a like what do you call it? What do you call it when you move a procession? It moves in a procession where it has like I want to say like 4 like crafts or 4 winds that are on each 4 corners of
Right. So those are the reconnaissance battleships that protects Nibiru. They call them the 4 winds, but they ships. They big as a planet, but it's a ship. Right. Just like the Death Star in Star Wars, the ship is navigatable. You can steer it. So the first several times that since it's been in this orbit, it would throw the crust of the earth into a flip. This is what broke Pangea up. And it would flip the crust of the earth. Now they navigated the ship, so when it come through, you only would know by the core stop and reverse spin, which happened in January of 2024. But those are ships. Nibiru is a ship. Then they got lesser ships called motherships. That's they can come into the Earth atmosphere. They small enough, but they still fucking huge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. Then they got cigar shaped craft. Those are primarily Inky's fleet. The ones that look like giant triangles is primarily the fleet of Enlil. But we don't have to worry about them no more because he been taken through the galactic courts and he confessed to all of the stuff he did. Right. So his reign is over. Right.
Yeah.
So all of his holdings now are liberated. They can be free will universes if they choose, or they can go back to being restricted will universes. Most of them want free will.
That's deep. That's real deep. I was trying to pull those. I was trying to pull the images in the bureau, but I don't want to get off track with keeping intact with the tribe and with the conversation. But I'll definitely have them for the next one. So now, let me see. We got a question. I think this one might be a relevant one. Well,
yeah, I'm going to say we coming up on 3 hours. We could take some questions from the audience from here.
Yeah. So let me.
We'll check out in about 15 minutes or so.
I got you. Let's do it. So let me see. Nope, that's not the one. Hold on. Okay, this one right here. Let me see. Let's see what this question is. Has anyone heard about ET spaceships that regularly go inside or outside of the sun?
Yeah. NASA published a video 2017, 2018 of a giant craft siphoning energy from the sun. It was a big black orb. It was siphoning energy from the sun. Yeah, that was a big deal to the NASA team.
Listen, I got a question from Thursday, which is funny to me that you said that. You said it was a big deal for the NASA team. So we was chopping it up. Like I said, the conversation was similar, but we talked about a lot. We covered a lot of ground, but one of the questions was about whether or not, well, it started with the difference between mankind and human. That's where it started. But then we went into, one of the brothers was like, yo, so is that what they meant when they said one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. Like, can you, like, does that make any sense to you? And if so, like, what does that mean to you from your perspective?
Yeah. Well, mankind is it's a um it's a code word for Indo-Europeans.
Hmm.
Well, not Neo-Europeans.
Hmm.
And man is the code term from uh ancient humans. That's all. So you look at it like this: the babies on Earth is getting a chance to feel like they running something. Okay. Now that they done went through their catharsis and burnt off all of their psychopathic racial personality and the Iceman inheritance, they ready to join the rest of the humans as a spiritual being. The rights of ascension was the great debauchery, which was denied them the rights of ascension. Being denied the rights of ascension, this is why you have all these aliens here, because it's royal families from different systems that's trying to correct a genetic waste product by donating a drop of blood from one of the royal families throughout the galaxies.
Hmm.
That's why America got a one drop of blood doctrine, because we was the last ones to participate in the genetic cleanup through amalgamation.
But that's deep. That, oh my God, that's deep. Because now last week I had Professor Copper on here, and he broke down like the significance of blood and why blood matters when you talk about bloodlines. And he didn't go into that part of it with the extraterrestrial aspect, but he definitely broke it down from a terrestrial aspect. But the
Right.
fact that he went into it from the extraterrestrial aspect, how does, because this has been a hot topic, or at least something that's been talked about quite frequently in the last couple of weeks and on the episodes on the show, how does Sirius play a role into all the stuff that's going on, like the Sirius star system of Canis Major
The dog star.
and the Dogon?
So that goes back to the Dogon cosmology, where they say their ancestors came from Sirius and seeded them here.
Hmm.
Right. That was an intermediary period from the beginning to a certain point that's older than modern recorded history. You gotta remember, the history that we are dealing with is only a 6,000 year history. Antediluvian history, ancient history,